I was addicted to gambling. When I committed the crime, I was 21 years old. I was not aware at the time that I was addicted to gambling. I had big losses. Then, I borrowed money from my cousin. But I couldn't pay it back, and he eventually pressured me. I just couldn't come up with the money. I thought there was only one way I could solve this problem, but it quickly turned out to be the worst decision of my life.
The situation ended tragically. Dejan pulled a knife and killed his cousin. 10 minutes later, he was arrested by the police.
The worst thing of all is that it destroyed two families at once. I am very sorry, and I will carry the guilt with me for the rest of my life.
Dejan is now serving his sentence in Croatia's toughest prison, and he's doing it on 10 square meters. At least, he only has to share his cell with one other inmate. The two even have their own toilet. Not everyone in Lepoglava enjoys this luxury. The average sentence for prisoners who end up here is 20 years. Many are serving sentences of 40 to 50 years. The youngest inmate is in his early 20s, the oldest over 80. The prison in Lepoglava operates on a carrot and stick basis. It rewards good behavior. Inmates are allowed to move freely within their wing and at certain times go to work. Some are even allowed a TV in their cell. Those who do not follow the rules are punished. Unruly prisoners lose all rights and end up in solitary confinement. It can take years before they regain their former freedoms. Until the Second World War, the Watchtower played an important role. Today, for humanitarian reasons, it is no longer in use. The guards now watch each tract from the various platforms. A guard stands watch at the top, armed with a machine gun. If occupants cause problems, he fires. Due to the 360-degree rotation of the gun, he rarely misses his target. Today, the prison relies on a combination of state-of-the-art technology and professionally trained police officers. Permanent surveillance, rapid communication among officers, and extensive checks make Lepoglava the most tightly supervised prison in the country. Dejan has experienced the harshness of the reward and punishment system firsthand.
The story goes that I'd been in prison for 10 years. At that point, I'd been completely fine. I wasn't causing any problems at all. My roommate and I at the time smuggled in a cell phone, and that cost me my good 10 years. I lost everything, my clothes, my job, and I ended up in solitary confinement. They punished me pretty severely. I was locked up there for 121 days. That was the worst time of my entire life.
It took a year before the prison granted Dejan the right to work again, to regain some liberty and get a double cell. Anyone who doesn't play by the rules ends up in the wing with the solitary and padded cells. It is the most dangerous wing in the entire prison. Inmates are completely isolated. guards monitor their every movement. Staying here is absolute punishment.
A newcomer is arriving. Do you have room?
Yes.
In which cell?
3 and 5.
Yes, that'll work. What do you think?
Okay.
Inmates live here on 8 square meters. The bed, table, and chair are bolted to the floor. Their only privacy is when sitting on the toilet. Contact outside the solitary cell is impossible.
Before a detainee comes here, he's thoroughly checked. He has no chance of smuggling in prohibited items or substances. We make sure of that. He's highly isolated. He also has no way to get illegal items from here.
If an inmate continues to create problems, he is moved into an adjacent padded cell. He stays there for up to 2 days, tied up and dressed only in his underwear. Anyone who rebels and soils the cell with feces, for example, is put on cleaning duty. These holes are the only source of fresh air.
Inmates desperately try to get out of here. Anything except romance can happen here. It's serious business when someone ends up here. They try to manipulate officers or hurt themselves to get out. We don't pay attention to any of that.
Word has spread about the horrors of the padded cell. Anyone who has been in there once usually does not end up there a second time. Those in solitary confinement or in the padded cell lose the right to work and thus the chance to earn money. The prison offers various workplaces: the metal workshop, the carpentry shop, and the kitchen. At every workplace, police officers, civilian workers, and surveillance cameras monitor the situation. Doctors regularly examine the inmates. Only those who are deemed safe are allowed to continue working and operate the large machines. The best paid job is in the kitchen. 120 euros are paid here per month. The work is almost daily. "48-year-old German Croat Ignaz has been working as a kitchen assistant for a long time.
This reminds me of the Rhine Fun Fair. We used to eat this kind of fish there.
His last visit to the fair was a while ago. Ignaz has spent a total of 17 years in German and Croatian prisons.
If I'd reacted just a little bit differently, I wouldn't have landed here. But with alcohol, it happens really fast. From one second to the next, you've ruined your life.
Ignaz is currently serving a 4-year sentence for aggravated assault. In Lepoglava, he is trying to improve himself. So, he is allowed to work in the kitchen.
Ignaz, come here, could you?
Ignaz has another privilege. He is permitted to handle sharp knives. That means he has access to potentially dangerous objects almost every day.
Only inmates who behave well and don't cause trouble are allowed to work with the knives. As soon as there's a problem, they're kicked out of the kitchen.
Ignace adheres strictly to this rule. In a few months, he will be released from prison. For him, this is joyful news. But at the same time, it also means great danger for him.
There are a lot of guys here who still have 30, 40 years ahead of them. It's clear that we don't have anything in common. Obviously, I'm happy I'm going home. Don't tell someone with 40 years to go that you're going home. He may flip out one day. I don't know. He may say to himself, "You won't be going anywhere." That's very dangerous. It's not a perfect world. There are plenty of dangerous situations.
Ignace prepares meals for himself and his fellow inmates 3 times a day. As soon as a knife is missing, an alarm is sounded, and everyone must follow a strict protocol.
We seal off the whole kitchen. No one's allowed out, not until the knife has reappeared. No one leaves the kitchen if even one knife is missing.
A lockdown like this can last several hours.